Live. It stars Over the Prairie with 8-time Minnesota Music Award-winning songwriter, musician, author, and historian, Paul Metsa. Check out previous show podcasts at KDAL610.com. Now, here's Paul Metsa.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stars Over the Prairie. This is your host, Paul Metsa. We've got a great show for you this morning because what do we do on Stars Over the Prairie? We interview stars, people that used to be stars, people that want to be stars, and people that just like to go outside, crack a cold one, and look at the stars at night. We've got two great musicians, two of the best musicians on in Minnesota this morning. We're going to be talking by phone to the great Erik Koskinen, who's on his way to play a couple of gigs up in Grand Marais. He's been a working fool. And he's also going to tell us about the ICE situation, capital I-C-E, down in southern Minnesota where he lives. And then live in the studio, we have the concert master from the Duluth Symphony Orchestra, Miss Erin Aldrich. She's going to talk about some shows she's got coming up, as well as we are going to play a couple of tunes live in the studio. Just turn on.
So this is going to be Paul Metsa's second time playing on the show.
That's right, but we're going to do that more in 2026.
Okay, good.
But I brought my guitar and my new amp, and Erin is literally, she plays classical music, but if you ever heard her play bluegrass, it'll blow your mind.
She plays bluegrass, and didn't she do a Celtic tune that I heard her play recently somewhere?
I wouldn't doubt that she's done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
She writes, she conducts, and she also plays in a great band, Danny Frank and Smokey Gold. It's warming up a little bit here in Duluth. I think it's around 20 degrees today. Thank God, because my heat went out on Monday and Tuesday. I was sitting at a chilly 48 degrees in the house with the dogs. We got through. You
didn't light any guitars on fire. I'm very proud of you. You could have lit one up and then sat over it, warmed your hands.
I light the guitars on fire when I'm playing the shows.
There we go.
We're going to hear a little bit of Erik Koskinen. I've been listening to this guy on and off for 25 years. We've never met. We've never chatted personally, but I've heard him dozens of times. First time with Molly Mayer at Nye's Polonaise Room in the early aughts. But we're going to be speaking with Erik. But here's a song of his called Hard Times.
I got a little baby on a midnight train. She works more than a man, but she's never getting paid. And she'll be coming around the mountain on her big telephone. She's got a wicked in her eyes and a soul like bone. I miss my baby when I'm on the run. And the trouble's still coming, 'cause the trouble's not done. And I lost my mind on the killing floor. I'm stealing from the rich, I ain't stealing from the poor. And it's hard times in the city now, hard times in the country too. It's hard times in the neighborhood. Our time for everyone except me.
Oh, man, that is such a beautiful song. Written and performed by my guest, Erik Koskinen. Erik, I know you're driving, so be safe. Keep your earbuds in, your hands on the wheel. But how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, my friend. I am driving, and I got both hands on the wheel, and I'm being good, and it's a nice, easy morning on the freeway.
Well, you know, you and I, we chatted while we were getting this interview set up, and we've known about each other for 25 years, but we've never chatted face-to-face, so this is our first conversation between two Finlander musicians, and but I used to go see you all the time when you were playing with Molly Merritt in Ice Paul and A's room.
Man, that was such a fun, yeah, I mean, I guess we met, I don't know if we met. I mean, you know, we've met a couple of times. I can't remember if that was the first time. Maybe Duluth. You know, we're getting close to 20 years ago now, which is I'm going to date. I'm going to date.
Hundreds and hundreds of gigs ago for both of us.
Hundreds of thousands of gigs ago, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got a couple of heroes in common, Woody Guthrie and Ry Cooder for starters, and I'm sure we could go on and on. Tell us a little bit about that song we just heard, Hard Times. When did you write that?
You know, I wrote that during the end of the COVID pandemic, and what I was doing was I was getting ready to go to a family reunion, and you know, I hadn't been writing a whole bunch during COVID. I just, you know, the news was so bad. I was just spending too much time waiting for the next catastrophe to happen, because that's what the news always sort of felt like, you know, to me anyway. And I started writing again, and it felt really good. And I was going to a family reunion, and my mom wanted me to play some songs that were good, bring a guitar and play some songs everybody could sing along around the campfire, you know. And so I was kind of going over some old folk songs and what I thought would be cool campfire songs, and they ended up being like these sort of social message and political sort of message things, like Woody Guthrie songs.
Right.
And I was learning the Foster song, Hard Times.
Oh, yeah, right.
Learning that song. Yeah, and, you know, there's another person I'm sure we're both fans of is Bob Dylan, and there's a great solo acoustic Bob Dylan version of Hard Times on a record he did in the 90s. And I was learning the song, and I just can't get through learning somebody else's song without getting inspired to write my own.
Right.
And you know, there's already a song, one of the best folk songs in the world, called Hard Times, you know, and I just sort of was twisting the song around a little bit and wrote Hard Times for everyone except me and you, and because I wasn't having that hard of a time.
Right.
But so many people were, you know, and you see it, and you want to talk about it and stuff. And, you know, everybody has their own, you know, hard times are relative, of course, right? I mean, everybody has their own version of their own hard times. But in general, I was doing pretty good.
Right, right.
But I was watching everybody else struggle.
Well, it's a beautiful song, man. You know, you got to tell me a little bit about, because, you know, we're both guitar freaks. And I love your guitar playing. Eric Koskin, you're like one of my heroes. Who are some of your guitar influences?
Well, you mentioned Ry Cooder, man. I grew up with a guy I grew up playing music with this guy who became my mentor. His name is Bernie Larson, and he was the original rhythm guitar player in David Lindley's El Rey OX band in L.A.
One of the greatest records of all time, by the way.
One of the greatest records of all time. I will agree with you 100%. I mean, they were the musician band of L.A. That's where Bob Dylan went to hang out on Monday night to go watch David Lindley and the El Rey OX band. That's where Tom Petty went to hang out. That's where everybody went, and Jackson Browne and, you know, all this stuff. And so I had this amazing fortune of meeting this guy when I was 15 and starting to play gigs. And he had a guitar with him that was a gift. That there's a photograph of Ry Cooder and David Lindley giving them this 1950s Stratocaster, and the neck is the Stratocaster. The neck is from the Bop Till You Drop guitar.
Wow!
On the cover of the Ry Cooder, and the body was, and that guitar got broken, so they put it. It was like a 58 neck and a 56 body that David Lindley and Ry Cooder put together and gave it to him as a gift, as a thank you gift.
Wow.
And there's a picture in Vintage Guitar magazine of them handing it to him and stuff. And that's so that was the first electric guitar like stuff I started to get into. Was that particular guitar was the one I was actually playing.
Wow.
And I just fell in love with David Lindley, man. David Lindley, Ry Cooder, and, so my friend Bernie Larson, who's not, I saw him, he replaced Bo Ramsey in Lucinda Williams' band for a while. He was in Melissa Etheridge's band back when she broke in the 90s, and, he's played on Run DMC stuff, and he's done all kinds of cool stuff, but he's always been into his own art and under the radar, never a big mainstream guy, but he's part of that whole world.
Speaking of guys that aren't part of the mainstream world, but are not, is also a phenomenal guitar player, is the man you just mentioned, Bo Ramsey, who played with Greg Brown for years. One of the best slide players I ever heard.
Yeah, man. I just got off stage with those guys. We did a benefit, not a benefit, but a sort of tribute show to Dave Moore, with the other great Iowa City songwriter. And Greg came out and did a song, and Bo came and played guitar with us. And Bo was a big influence on me before I knew who Bo was, because my dad had the Greg Brown records, and when I was a kid. And, I started hearing that guitar playing. And you know what? And another one is Dean McGraw, who played on one of those.
Oh, Dino! I love Dino.
Man, that guy is just—he's a special human, So
he really is. I had the pleasure of opening up for both Ry Cooder at the Guthrie Theater with my band Cats Under the Stars. We present,
did?
Oh yeah, it was amazing, man. It was John Hyatt's band, man, and Tim Drummond on bass, Jim Keltner on drums, Bobby King and Terry Evans, and those early pictures. Those early pictures of Ry with wearing the babushkas of the different headgears, we thought we'd do something with a real northern Minnesota twist, and we gifted him a birch bark baseball hat after the show. And I wish I had a picture of his eyes when we gave them to him, like, what the hell are you guys thinking, and what are you smoking? And then I had a pleasure open up for David Lindley and his percussionist at the Caboose Bar years ago. And those guys, do you
remember the percussionist's name? Because
was it Wally?
Yeah. So I used to play with his son for a bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, those guys, we're talking about gods. I've got Erik Koskinen on the line. He's on his way to play up in Grand Marais tonight. These are gods to guys like Erin and I. Eric's playing tonight at 8 o'clock in Grand Marais at Up Yonder. Tomorrow night he's doing in Grand Marais, also at the Log Cabin at the Community Center. Now, talk about a working man before I want to ask him about what's going on with ICE, capital ICE, down in southern Minnesota. But you played the Cedar Lounge at Superior on Thursday. You played the Icebox Gallery last night in Minneapolis. Tonight you're in Grand Marais. You are the example of what us Finnish people know is called sisu. My father drove into me. It's inner strength. The best definition I ever heard was determination beyond all reason. But you are one working SOB, Erik Koskinen.
Man, I'm wearing my shirt today. Arnie and Ivy Vineo gave me a shirt that says "Got Sisu" on it with a question mark. And when I have days where I'm feeling a little vulnerable about something, maybe I wear it, and it sometimes just wearing it will remind me to push forth and be a good human and just do the stuff that we love.
Yeah, and you gotta dig deep. That's what sisu is. You gotta just dig deep. I totally knew where you're coming from. Erik, how many kids do you have?
Well, you know what? I have 4 grandkids.
Wow.
But so my wife has 6 children, and after we've all been together for many, many years, her oldest has had 4 kids. So I don't have any kids.
Wow.
But I have 4 grandkids. So I skipped parenting and went straight to grandparenting. But I have 6 stepchildren and 4 grandkids.
Wow. Well, you've got to be one of the coolest grandpas in southern Minnesota.
Well, we have fun. We definitely have fun, and I get to take them on tractor rides and stuff like that when they come over. And we have a nice, beautiful sled hill behind my house. And yeah, when we have the best time. They're the best. You know what? The kids are so great, and they just remind us that us adults need to get our heads together and make the world a good place for those kids.
You're absolutely right. Now I want to mention, because I missed you at the Cedar Lounge, one of the coolest bars in Wisconsin, but you'll be back at the Cedar, I'm looking here, February 12th. At the Earth Rider Brewery Tap Room, 8 p.m. I'm going to be there, Eric. But let's get a little more serious here for a minute. You live right outside of St. Peter, correct?
I just bought a house in St. Peter.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I lived outside of St. Peter. I lived outside of St. Peter for 10 and a half years, and I just moved to town. I just bought a house in town.
Good for
you.
you.
I feel good to be in town.
Yeah, you know, I spent a lot of time. I had a lot of friends that went to Gustavus and Mankato, and so I spent a fair amount of time in both cities. I remember, this is kind of a dark story, but it's got a humorous bent to it. I was going to play at the college at Gustavus, and I was listening to the radio on my way into town, and it said Karen Carpenter just died. So I met the guy from the student committee who booked me at there used to be a place called Big John's Pancakes right on the main drag. And this kid was maybe 20, 21 years old. And I said, oh, man, I said, I just heard that Karen Carpenter died. And without skipping a beat, he said, man, she had only just begun.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I know. But I mean, that's where those dark jokes, they have to start somewhere. Then they go around the world. Yeah. That's where that one started. But Eric, speaking of
Finns are the kings of dark humor, man. I mean, they are considered the happiest people on the planet, apparently. But it might be the dark humor that makes them that way.
Well, it's what they say about the Finnish man that loved his wife so much he almost told her.
Exactly.
I get that one.
Hey, Eric, tell us about you and your wife. What is your wife's name?
Nicole Helga.
Yeah, Nicole, you have been really doing the work of the people down there and dealing with the ICE occupation. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, Nicole is our county commissioner in Nicollet County. One of, each county has a number of five commissioners. I guess Hennepin County has 7. Whatever, that doesn't matter. Yeah. But he's the commissioner of our district right there in St. Peter, and then west into Nicollet County. And ICE is been in St. Peter heavily for the last month, and they are targeting families of color who are here working at the various places, like the big dairy operations and factories and stuff like that. And they're scaring the kids. The kids are afraid to go to school, and the people are afraid to go to work and to leave their house, and they're terrorizing them. And she is not having it. It's her county, and she is for the people, for supporting all the families. They work hard. They're beautiful people. They're paying taxes.
Yeah,
doing all this stuff, man. And there's also a handful of these Latino women down there that they're not messing around, man. They are serious women, and they are getting stuff done.
I've seen a couple things on Facebook with Nicole, dealing face to face with these thugs, and tell her that from a distance, man, I'm her biggest fan. I'm one of Erik Koskinen's biggest fans. Before we go, Erik, we're going to listen to a song of yours, but I am going to definitely come in and see you when you're at the Earth Rider Brewery Tap Room at the Cedar Lounge on February 12th. Check out Erik Koskinen.
We should figure out a song that we can sing together. Also, I wanted to say one little thing really quick, because the last time I saw you was at the Bob Dylan concert in 2019.
I sat right behind you.
And you know what, man, I thought that was one of the most brilliant concerts of my life that I've seen, and I remember that. I remember that well.
You know what? And his version of "Girl from the North Country" that night was might have been the greatest version I've ever heard of that song.
I think it was. I mean, I completely agree with you. I've gotten to hear some iPhone video of it or whatever, and it's still just as good. It was an amazing night, and I'm glad that you got to be there, because I was so happy that I got to see that.
Oh man, it was wonderful. Yeah, we sat right behind you. I was with my nephew Jordan. Of course, over the years, I have no kids, but I'm a pretty cool uncle, and I've turned all the kids on to Bob Dylan. I've taken almost all of them to Bob Dylan shows. Here's my dream, Erik Koskinen. You, me, Rich Mattson, Rich Mattson on bass and guitar, Al Oikri, fellow Finn on keyboards, Joe Loma, fellow Finn on drums, that the five of us get over and do a tour to Finland, and I got the name, the Sisu Savages.
Let's do it, man. I mean, you know what? I love that idea. And humor aside, I'm in it. And you know what? Rich, what a beautiful human that guy is. And I had never gotten to know Rich that well, because he moved back north out of the city about the time I moved to the city. When I moved to Minneapolis, and we crossed each other by like 6 months. So we run into each other often over the years doing stuff, but we've never really gotten to work on music together. And I would love to work on music with that guy. But we kind of had the same thing going on. He's got a studio. He produces records for people. He's got his own band. I have a studio. I produce records for people, and I got my own band. And so we were like, we're doing the same work, and it's hard to cross paths. It makes it more difficult to cross paths that way, because you run out of time. And
well, you know what? When you get up here,
like that happen would be the thing to do.
Yeah, well, let's get that done. And Erik, have a great gig tonight. Save a little time when you come up on February 12th. I want to take you out for dinner. We could kick around some of these ideas and actually chat face to face.
Let's do it. And maybe we should do a Bob Dylan song if you got time and you can come by the Cedar Lounge, and we should figure out a Bob Dylan song to do.
I'd love to, and then let's do two. Let's do a Dylan number, and how about "How Can a Poor Man Stand Such Times and Live"?
Oh, man, what a great song. Yeah.
Erik Koskinen's going to be up tonight at the Up Yonder in Grand Marais at 8 p.m., and tomorrow he's playing at the Log Cabin at the Community Center at 6 p.m. So check it out. Erik, drive safe. Thanks for your time, and keep rocking.
Paul, Chris, you guys just have a great day. Be safe. And, we're fighting fascism out here every day now. That's my new goal.
Me too, brother.
Yeah, man.
All right.
I know you got to go, but Finns have been known for doing that in the northern part of the Midwest of the United States since that began. And I'm proud to say that we've been doing that the whole time.
It's in our heritage.
That's right, man.
Here's Gun by Erik Koskinen. Drive safe, brother.
Bye, man.
I had a pretty little girl when I got home. She always had a smile for me. We had money for the rent, most of the bills, an extra $10 for fun. We'd get some 22 shells and a bottle of wine, go shooting rats at the dawn.
I'm Lucas, and I had Z-LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. Went great. Little to no pain yesterday. Surgery went great. Everything else went home, took a nap, woke up, and haven't really had any pain since. Everybody was super nice and talked you through every step of the way, and I barely had to ask any questions because they knew what to say. They filled it all in. For me, it'll just be snowmobiling's my big one. I try to do a lot of riding in the winter. I farm in the summer, so this year was a big difference where a couple of times I had to borrow somebody's helmet, so I put my glasses on and ride because just the weather conditions, everything else, out there riding blind. So I'm really excited for that. It's well worth the money, and it's going to change my life for a long time, I'll tell you that.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
Hello, this is Rich Mattson.
And Jermaine Gumberling, and you're listening to Paul Metsa's
Stars Over the Prairie radio show
on KDAL.
AM 610
and 103.9 FM.
And also now broadcasting all over the Iron Range on KDAH 650, all the way up to Southern Canada. I am so delighted to have Miss Erin Aldrich in the studio with me. She is one of the finest violinists and fiddle players I've ever met. Erin, thanks for coming in this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me, and thanks for the kind words.
Well, it's true. I heard you for the first time. I played the 4th of July with the Paul Metsa group, and right before us was the great Danny Frank and Smokey Gold. And I said, who is that incredible country bluegrass fiddle player? And then when I got to know you, and everybody knows Erin Aldrich, no, she is the concert master at the Duluth Superior Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, I wear multiple hats. That was such a fun show, by the way.
That
was
was
really great. It was really fun.
I noticed, too, depending on the type of music that you play, your instrument changes names. So if you're playing bluegrass, you play a fiddle.
Yeah.
But then you play a violin when you play classical music.
Yes. And the truth is, a lot of classical, like I've always referred to it as a fiddle. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's it's always about the style that you're doing, which is what the names are. And a lot of people will ask, do you use different instruments? And really, a violin can play all of that. Right. I do have 2 fiddles. I have one that I do use primarily for classical and one for bluegrass and other genres. But it's really one and the same instrument.
I just ran sound for a couple of classical players, and when I said, yeah, you just bring your fiddle up to the mic so I can do a sound check, and he says, sir, this is a violin. And I was like, okay, take your violin up.
Erin Aldrich has won numerous awards as both soloist and chamber musician, and has been featured throughout Europe, South America, and the United States. And before I forget, you've got a show, a couple of shows coming up. Where are you playing next?
Well, on the non-classical side, on Thursday, I'm with Hot Tamale Cosmos. We're playing at Friday, the 13th, Friday. Okay. We're playing Galentine's at Ben Paddle, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then with Superior Siren, I'm doing Solka on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Spirit of the Lakes. I'm missing the acronym. It's Spirit of the Lakes. Anyways, they have a wonderful concert series that's newer, and we're playing for that. And then the following Tuesday on the 17th, I will be doing a recital at UW Superior, and the first half will be of the classical vein, and then the second half, Danny Frank will be joining me, and we're going to be premiering a bunch of my compositions that are sort of a hybrid of classical and bluegrass.
I love Danny's music, and I love the band Smokey Gold. How did you start playing with Danny?
We had known each other for years, and we both knew that each of us did music. We just didn't kind of cross paths in that way, and we had been friends. And one day he sent me a message. He's like, so I'm starting to get booked for some things, and I do some bluegrass. Would you ever want to do bluegrass? And what he didn't know is I grew up doing fiddling and that sort of thing. Right. And then I got tracked into classical, but always wanted to get back into that. And I'm like, yes, I would love to. And I remember finishing that first performance, and I was just on a high, and I loved it so much. And I'm like, oh, I hope he asks me again. And then like a week later, he's like, so I have another gig. Do you want to play with me? And then it just kind of after that, we're kind of like, yeah, this is going to happen. So
I bumped into him just a couple of weeks ago at the sauna at the YMCA downtown, and I told him, I said, I don't know where you found Erin Aldridge, but you are a very lucky band leader.
Thanks. No, I'm lucky too, though. It's the band. All the guys in the band are amazing and great, both as musicians and human beings. So I feel like I'm the lucky one.
And you also teach.
I do.
And tell us about that. What do you do over at UWS? Right?
I'm in the music department at UWS, and I teach. I wear a lot of different hats. I teach violin and viola. I direct the orchestra. I teach music theory and music history. And we have a new class that is close to my heart right now, and that is I also co-teach improvisation.
Interesting.
So, and sort of a general look at improvisation.
See, now that I think is a class that we need. That needs to be taught because I think so many things are technical nowadays that there isn't that free spirit, the creative part anymore.
We just changed our curriculum a little bit so we could add in improvisation, and then we also added in songwriting and composition. So every student that comes through the music department will have opportunities in both, because that reflects, look at what I'm doing right now.
Right.
That's it. It reflects like I'm living it.
Right.
And I want my students to have that chance too. And so does the rest of the faculty. So it's a really cool thing.
I am very excited. I brought my guitar and my new amplifier, so we're going to play a couple of songs towards the end of this show here on Stars of the Prairie. But would you, I got to ask you a question. Do you do the Orange Blossom Special?
I have, yes.
Could you play that for us?
Oh, I could, yeah.
She brought her a violin, but she can grab her fiddle for this one.
If you're going to play the Orange Blossom Special, it's a fiddle.
We should call it the fiddle-in.
Ooh, I like it.
We're going to coin a new phrase.
And
you heard it here first. It's copyrighted by us.
And if you happen to be Finnish and play both fiddle and violin, you could be the fiddlin'
Finn.
Oh,
yeah, we're getting it going here. Yeah. Well, grab your violin. Let's hear what you've got to play.
Okay, so you want Orange Blossom?
Yeah, let's hear Orange Blossom Special.
Here's another name. It could be a Findolin.
Findolin.
Ooh, that's good.
We are improvising right now as we speak with the English language. I can't wait to hear. This is going to be, and if you're there, get another cup of coffee or maybe move the coffee table and roll up the rug. Don't sit down for this one. This is the great Erin Aldridge doing the classic Orange Blossom Special. I am going to venture to bet that there is not a radio show in America that had that kind of bravura performance that we just had my guest Erin Aldridge do the great Orange Blossom Special. That was amazing.
And it was very interesting because I've only heard that song with a band. So it was kind of cool just to hear that instrument play it by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you practice every day?
When
you have time.
When I have time, and when I have, which is now all the time, when I have shows and concerts, yeah, I do as much as I can, but it's sort of like I get in practice like if I have a half hour, I'll run, grab my fiddle, and go through stuff. Like, back in the day when I was a student and stuff, you would block out 3-4 hours, and that's just unrealistic.
Right.
And so I do it when I can, but now I'm always playing.
Yeah, but you've done your 10,000 hours back when you were really deciding to get serious. And how old were you? And tell us about your early practice sessions for the young musicians that are out there listening this morning. What would you tell them about your routine, and what would you advise for them to do with their instrument?
Okay, so I'm going to start by saying something that's going to be startling for a lot of people. I hate practicing. I own it. I'm very honest with my students. But what I hate more is not being good on stage.
Yeah.
Therefore, you get in the practice room, and it's taken me a lifetime to get to a space where I'm in a really good place and I know how to coach myself into practice. But early on, actually my mom would wake up with me, and she was adamant. I had my parents are super supportive, and they're not like the helicopter parents. They just held me accountable. They're like, if you're going to play violin, you need to practice. If you don't want to practice and you don't want to do this, then we're not going to pay for lessons. It was just more of a, like, you commit to something, you follow through. And so, but my mom would get up with me. She played piano. And when I was really young, she would practice with me. So, but it was always before school.
So like 5, 6, 7, something like that, 8, 9, 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started very young. I started at 2.5, and I would say probably, and all the way through until.
What, you were playing in the crib? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I had a tiny, tiny violin, and yeah, it was, I was a little, and now as a teacher, I would say it's a little too young, and I was too young, but things kind of stuck, and I rolled with it. And so my mom would get up with me in the mornings, and her thing was, we're going to get up in the mornings before school, get up a little early, get it taken care of. And that way, if you want to go out with friends after school or you want to relax, you can, because the work is done. So that I would say, if you struggle with practice like I do, plan it out, have it regimented, and have a game plan. I think a lot of people don't know how to practice, and I didn't for a long time. It took several, wise, teachings from my mentors and my teachers to get me into a place like now I know how to really successfully practice, and to practice in an expedient way where you're not like, I can waste 4 hours easy. And get nothing done. Yeah. And you give me 20 minutes and I can absolutely get it done. So I think if you have an idea of what you want to do and allow it to happen and plan for it, I think that's what's been really successful for me with practicing.
And those are words of sage wisdom from a tried and true professional. Who is your favorite country or bluegrass fiddler?
Oh my gosh, there's many, but there's literally many that I love and respect.
If you could only listen to this one, who would it be?
Michael Cleveland. I absolutely adore him. I love what he brings to the table.
And of course, I'm sure somewhere there's Vassar Clements or Byron Berline.
Oh, absolutely.
You gotta have Vassar.
Hands down, you have to have Vassar.
Now, how about classical violinists?
It depends on what I'm listening to.
Okay.
I love the throwbacks. Currently my favorite current player is Augustine Hadelich. But I would say my favorite, back in the day, one of them would be David Oistrakh. Him playing the César Franck violin sonata is one of my favorite recordings of all time. Yeah.
Could we hear a classical piece on solo violin, Miss Erin Aldrich?
Ooh. I was in the bluegrass vein. Let me think if I can. Sure, I'll do a little snippet. How about some Bach? Bach in the morning is always a little bit nice.
How about we take our break, and that'll give you a chance to kind of settle into it.
Okay, that sounds
to
great.
change because you said you're in bluegrass mode. We'll put you in classical mode and we'll take a break. How's
Perfect.
that?
And then Erin and I are going to do a little George Gershwin. Musician after. You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie, and we've got Erin Aldrich on for the rest of the show.
I'm Joe, and I had Z LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. The funny thing is I absolutely hated buying a contact solution because I thought it was such a racket having to spend $15 on a bottle of contact solution. And that's just one thing, is just not having to buy that stuff anymore, or glasses or anything like that. For me, it's mainly just I like to hunt and fish and everything, and not having to bring that stuff along, especially in the winter when I go ice fishing and stuff. It gets a pain when I get to the end of the day taking my contacts out, and then if a rattle reel goes off in the middle of the night, I'm fumbling for my glasses to go and try and catch a fish.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
Hey, it's Curly from the Salty Dogs, and you're listening to Stars Over the Prairie with Paul Metsa.
All right. It's so fun to have Miss Erin Eldridge in the studio with us today. We're going to play a tune or two together. And we want to thank Weiss Eye Center because they've been supporting us since we first got on the air. And if you're a business out there that wants to, or have an event coming up and want to get the word out to a very committed and cool audience, just get a hold of me at paul@paulmetsa.com. I'll steer in the right way. If you'd like to support the show, I know we've had a lot of steady listeners out there. Some people listening all over the world. I've got a Venmo account, and you could just go to my paulmetsa.com, and you'll see my Venmo account, and we'll keep the show on the air. But right now, we are going to have the great violinist, fiddle player Erin Aldrich do a classical number, and we're going to listen to a little Bach.
We're going to do a little Bach. I'll do a little bit of from the E major partita, the Gavotte in Rondo.
Great. Wow, little bluegrass, little Bach, you got it all going on, Miss Erin Aldrich.
The part that I find hard to wrap my head around is when you play a song, there's kind of a layout of it, and I haven't wrapped my head around the layout of classical. So it would be hard for me to remember something like that, to just play a piece.
I think because there's lots of different layouts. There's multiple layouts in classical, and that's like over the years you learn what those layouts are. But it's and you have to study it and navigate it. It's really it's not as, because there's so many different ones. That's a lot. I mean, there's lots of different things in bluegrass too, but not in terms of like form and the layout.
Yeah,
and
there's more form.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Erin, as I was listening to that beautiful piece, you have been studying and learning and performing for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. Is there anything left that you need to know?
Oh, I think, I mean, I kind of live my life that I am the eternal student. And so I always think that I am learning and hopefully getting better and keep gaining skills. I'm studying a lot of now, like the old time bluegrass, because what I do is like a hybrid, clearly. And so I want to get better because I love the really like the old time bluegrass players, and that's just something I haven't had. So I'm studying it and I'm learning it, and I would like to get better in those skills. And I'm always in classical looking for like pieces that are going to challenge me. I'm starting to play a lot more viola now, and pick up some of that repertoire as well. So I'm always kind of investigating and looking at what I can do. And the other thing that's really new for me is I'm composing, which I thought was never, ever going to happen. So never say ever.
Wow. My new hero, Erin Aldrich. Gee, I'm very impressed. And I'm very excited. I'm just tune my amp here just a little bit. Okay. And I'm very honored that you'd let me play guitar for you.
Oh, I'm honored to play with you. This is going to be fun.
Let's do the old George Gershwin number from Porgy and Bess, Summertime. And if you're playing along at home, we're in A minor. Oh, that was fun. Yeah. We gotta figure out the few gigs that next time I'm playing. If you have a hole in your busy schedule, you got to come down and sit in.
That would be awesome.
So, what type of music? I've gotten to know Erin now. It's been a couple of years, but so I'll be cruising around on the interwebs at night, listening to music here and there, and I go, "Oh, geez, I think Erin's going to love this." So I'll shoot you an email, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's why those emails are coming in like 2 or 3 in the morning, Erin.
I love it. And it's always you always send me like the best stuff. It's really great.
So what sort of casual listening do you do around the house?
Everything.
Okay.
I listen to everything. I was raised on like folk and doo-wop. I mean, everybody thinks that all I listen to is classical, and I think people would be surprised that I pretty much don't listen to classical. I do at times when I'm in the right mood, but I listen to I love like my favorites like Nina Simone, Illinois.
Nina's so good.
My mom introduced me. You know, I was raised. I saw Peter, Paul, and Mary. John Denver. I've seen him in concert.
He's so underrated, I think.
Oh my gosh, and he's one of the best. And it was funny because he was playing at the big stage. I'm just spacing it, Summerfest, because I grew up in Milwaukee, and so Summerfest was the place to go. And so my mom loves John Denver, and she's like, we have to go see him. And I'm like in high school. I'm like, okay, I'll go with you. And it was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. His voice was just so extraordinary.
And he has such a connection to his audience, too. I think that's what makes it such a good show.
It was just a brilliant show.
Well, you know, it's funny because this is how my favorite Bob Dylan line from It's All Over Now, Baby Blues, take what you've gathered from coincidence. So here we're talking. We started out with Erik, the great Erik Koskinen, who just bought a house in St. Peter, playing up in Grand Marais tonight. And now we're with Miss Erin Aldrich. We're talking about John Denver, who met his wife Annie when he did a gig down at Gustavus Adolphus College.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In St. Peter. That is correct. You know what? We're going to, we've got some great shows lined up. We're here 11 a.m. to noon every Saturday on KDAL, 610 AM, 103.9 FM, up on the Iron Range, KDAH 650 AM, and stream us at KDL610.com. Follow me at paulmetsa.com. And we're just going to play a little blues to take us out to the next show. And we want to thank everybody for listening. And we'd also like to thank our first guest, Erik Koskinen. How about a little blues and E, Erik?
Sounds great.
To tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.